I, 28 male, was supposed to be in Hawaii today, enjoying my honeymoon with the love of my life, Brenda, 27 female, but the woman who has now wretched my life. Yesterday was my wedding day, the happiest day of my life, but it turned out to be a nightmare for me when I got to know that the woman I married a few hours ago was on me with my best man, moments before exchanging the vows. It was a 2-day event with a bachelor and bachelorette party on the day prior, followed by the main wedding. Yesterday, we were supposed to not meet each other during this 2-day event, and I directly saw her at the altar. That's how it happened. We enjoyed our pre-wedding party separately. It was at the same location, but at separate parts of the venue. The groomsmen and bridesmaids were allowed to crash into any of the two parties, but not the bride and groom. It was all so fun. We got drunk and passed out at midnight. The next morning, I woke up and got ready to receive our parents. We went to pick up our grandparents from the airport, and the wedding proceeded as planned. The wedding was followed by lunch. Friends and family raised a toast to us. Everything was fine until then. In the middle of this, I went to use the restroom and heard the janitors gossiping that they had seen the bride hooking up with the best man. I remained inside and heard the entire conversation. One of them swore to have seen the bride in her wedding dress making out in the restroom with the best man. The other one said he had seen the best man in the bride's room in the early morning, and he thought him to be the groom, but was later surprised to know that he wasn't the groom. I couldn't hold back, hiding inside and listening to them. I came out, and all three of them were shocked to see me. They awkwardly left the place. I checked for the camera inside the wash area, but found none. But there was a camera installed in the lobby outside. I rushed towards the room where she was put up. Last night, there was a camera outside her room. I called up my wedding manager and asked him to fetch the recordings of the camera placed in the lobby. Outside, the restroom and the bride's room. He was reluctant, but seeing my desperation, he tried to calm me down and said he would fetch me. I resented going back to the lunch table but didn't want to create a scene in front of the guests. So I went. I couldn't help but notice my best man and my wife's body language. They were acting as normal, that nothing had ever happened between them. I was choking up but didn't have anyone to roll up to. My man and my wife were the closest and most important people in my life that day, and they both chose to screw me. My restlessness was maybe evident. Brenda and everyone else asked me if I was fine. I was pale and shivering with anxiety. People were dancing and they pulled me to join, but I refused, saying I was tired. My best man came forward to ask Brenda's hand for a dance, and she obliged. Had this happened before my restroom break, this would have been a happy sight, but now it disgusted me to see them together. Knowing what they did to me, seeing them grooving together, I could only imagine how they would have done last night. It was pathetic of me, but I was just visualizing the circumstances and the ways they had cheated on me. After a while, I got a text from the wedding manager saying he had fetched the recordings. I asked him to meet me in my room. Brenda was busy twerking with the best man and other groomsmen. I went back to my room. I took footage from him, thanked him, and asked him to leave. I told him, if anyone asked about me, tell them that I wanted to be left alone. He nodded and left. I locked myself up. My hands were shaking to play the recordings. I knew my life was going to change at that moment. I played on the wedding day, footage of the lobby outside, the restroom. I see that my best man goes inside the men's restroom. And then, when everyone else leaves it after finishing up their business, when the restroom got vacant, he probably locked it from inside, and then called up Brenda. She is then seen sneaking into the restroom. They were locked inside for close to 10 to 12 minutes. Meanwhile, a few other men came to use the restroom, but the door was bolted from inside. Then, probably they would have informed the security or janitors. At last, the janitor came and knocked, but there was no answer, and he directed 2 men to use the restroom upstairs. The janitor comes back with a key, opens the door, and Brenda rushes out of the L. I had tears in my eyes. This was enough to conclude what happened between them. Yet, my curiosity forced me to check out the footage of the last night. It was a planned and deliberate cheating. They were making out in the lobby while heading towards her room, his hands all over hers. I could only imagine what would have happened inside the room. I cried, like a baby, knowing that my life was screwed up on my wedding day by the most precious people in my life. I stood in the room, crying and cursing my fate. I got several knocks on my door. My phone was blazed with non-stop texts and calls. I called up the event manager and asked him to tell everyone to leave me alone for some time. He did the same, and knocking went silent. But Brenda was constantly texting me to check on me. I switched off my phone, but I was feeling very restless. I storm out of the room and go outside to find almost all the guests have left. Just a handful of family members, including parents of both sides. Siblings and some close friends are waiting. The best man had also fled the location. Brenda was crying, her maid of honor, and her parents were consoling her. Everyone rushed towards me on seeing me. Mom hugged me, asking me what had happened, but Brenda stood at a distance. Maybe she and the best man got the whiff of what had happened. I looked at her and said, "I'm annulling the marriage right now." She started crying hard, while everyone else bombarded me with questions. I switched on my phone and showed her father the footage of her making out in the lobby. The disgust on his face was enough for everyone to figure out the matter. I drove off from the location. The event manager called me for the final settlement, and I asked him to take it from the bride, putting up a show at the venue. I don't know who paid the settlement and what happened after that, because I haven't spoken to anyone since leaving the place. I drove off more than 200 miles to a remote countryside and have been staying here since yesterday afternoon. I left the venue in my wedding suit. So, on the way, I got rid of it and changed into my gym clothes. Lying on the trunk, my condition is just so pathetic. I haven't spoken to anyone. The last meal I had was my wedding lunch. I wanted to visit the pastor for the enrollment process, but just don't have any motivation to move my butt. We had our flight to Hawaii this morning, and in the middle of all of this chaos, I forgot to cancel it. In fact, I woke up today with the final calls from airlines to board the flight. That money went to waste. I canceled the hotel bookings, but got no returns because I was canceling them. Post check-in time, I got some money back, only for the return flight from Hawaii and some water sports bookings otherwise. I lost everything in the true sense. Anyways, monetary loss is nothing compared to the mental stress I'm going through. I don't know how I'm going to deal with all this trauma. My head is hurting so bad. This loneliness is killing me, but I don't want to talk or meet anyone either. I don't know how to explain my situation. Oh, this is absolutely gutting up. I'm so sorry this has happened to you. Betrayal from the two people who are supposed to love and support you. Like, no one else is in unimaginable pain. It took strength to do what you did, and while the financial loss may feel significant, now, healing emotionally is the primary concern. Take all the time you need. Sometimes all we need is space is healthy. All I needed was to escape from the known world. 2 days later, I went out to get some essentials from the supermarket downstairs and ate something. After 2 days, I realized I was badly reeking of alcohol I had been having. I took a shower and went to meet the pastor. He was the one who commenced our wedding. He was shocked to know what had happened to me while leaving the wedding venue. I bravely told her that I was going to annul the wedding. Having no clue about the annulment rules, the pastor clarified that annulment could be done only in the case of fraud or forced wedding, misinterpretation of the vows, or if the vows were taken in an unmindful state of mind, which was basically drunk or stoned. I asked him if we could consider this to be the case of fraud because she cheated on me just before the wedding vows were exchanged. He said that, along with the religious rituals, we had registered our wedding with the magistrate's office, as per the law. Unfortunately, I had to go into the divorce process. I hated to see her guts, and getting into the divorce meant crossing paths with her, but I had no other option than this. I went to my parents. They were stressed out. Dad offered to lend all sorts of support I asked for a lawyer. Dad is a businessman and has lawyers as his connections. He gave me the contact of an attorney who specializes in divorce cases. He had already briefed the lawyer about my case and was waiting for me to reach out. Dad said he has already sorted out the stuff with the lawyer, and he has confirmed that, in my case, divorce should be a swift process, because the marriage was not legally consummated. I met the lawyer and he assured me of a smooth process. He immediately proceeded with the paperwork and said that the divorce papers would reach her in a week, and he would ensure that I didn't have to pay for a penny of alimony, and instead, she would have to pay for half the wedding expenditure. My father had told him that I was funding the whole wedding, and that's how he added this term of recovering the wedding expenses. I also got to know that Dad did the payment settlement for the wedding planner. After I left the venue, Brenda's parents also immediately left, disowning her in front of everyone. Her maid of honor took her home, or don't know where, but they left together. It was lastly, my parents and grandparents left picking up my stuff from the wedding, and did the settlement with the planner. Mom gave me the keys of my house. Brenda has shipped it to my parents. She called my mom, apologized and requested her to help us get back together. Mom said she won't meddle in our business, and it would be solely my decision what I want to do with the relationship. People questioned on posts about my best man, that how could I have a pervert as the best man in my wedding? Well, let me tell you, he's my friend from college and we've known each other for 10 years. He is put up in Seattle after college, but whenever he's in town, we always catch up and hang out. Though he is thousands of miles away, we were always in touch when I told him about my wedding. He was more excited than me. He flew down a week prior to the wedding and helped me with the shopping and arrangements. He has always been more than a friend, like an extended family. This was not the first time he had met Brenda that he got swayed away. Ever since I started seeing her, we used to hang out together. Whenever he was in town, I wanted to know what he was thinking before banging my wife before the wedding. But at that moment, all I wanted was mental peace. So, I didn't talk to him, coming to soon-to-be ex-wife. We dated for 2.5 years, even after we decided to get married. We waited for 5 months in those many years of knowing each other. I have never noticed any red flags. She was sweet and understanding and never made advances to my friends. Even when we used to hang out with this best man, nothing suspicious ever happened. I came back to my empty house. Honestly, it felt haunted. I was here. We were so happy prepping for the wedding and our future together, and now it was all in ruins. Mom visited me the next day and stayed with me for a few weeks. She cleaned up all the remaining stuff that Brenda had left and renovated a lot of stuff in the house. And, trust me, it helped. Slowly, I gained control over my life. The first thing I did was join a fitness club to keep myself busy and mind drained. Anyways, draining my mind with all these negative thoughts. So, better. I drain it through the workout and gain something out of it. Not that I was unhealthy or overweight, but yeah, slightly chubby. I have lost 5 pounds already. Thanks, work-wise. Also, I have been keeping myself busy when the divorce papers reached her. She texted me if we could meet once. This was her first text. After the D-Day, I broke down again. I had ghosted her all this while. And to me, she had turned into a ghost who didn't exist. And when I got her text, all the emotions came flowing back. I agreed. She looked pale and weak. I stood there with a straight face. Whatever she asked, I gave one word. Reply. It was all general stuff. Talking to her was awkward. I don't think I would ask that, and I still don't know why I asked this. But I brought up the topic of cheating, as to how she landed inside his pants. She was embarrassed at my question, broke down, and then confessed. Her answer blew my mind. She was like, I have never, ever cheated on you before. I have ever thought I would. I wanted to be loyal to you throughout my life. But, when I told this to my bridesmaid, they suggested I taste other blood for one last time, before committing to one. When the best man visited her troupe at the bachelorette party, they kind of told him that Brenda was looking for someone to hook up that night before committing herself to one man at the altar. The best man said, sure, I'm all here. It was all in a fun way, but had put ideas in both of their minds. They eventually flirted with each other as a game in front of everyone, but couldn't stop, even after being left alone. One thing led to another, and they decided to have one fun night before the wedding. So, it wasn't one time, it was for the whole night. I remember it all happened after I passed out at my bachelor's party. I had to wake up early morning to pick up my grandparents from the airport. So, I dozed off post-midnight. My best man was not yet done partying. So, he headed to the bachelorette party after that. And there, everything happened. I don't know if I should blame myself for sleeping early after confessing everything. She asked me with a pathetic look if we could give one last chance to our relationship and start over again. I said, no. I'm never going to trust her again, and it's better we part ways, because our relationship would never survive a day, even if I gave it a shot. I have turned bitter towards her, and that cannot be changed. Not anytime soon. I may forgive her eventually, but I can never trust her again. She cried. I was also crying, but I stood strong and did not melt. She signed the divorce papers after that, and shipped them back to my lawyer. The divorce is settled. Now, I'm moving forward with my life. Taking one at a time, I'm focusing on my work, upskilling myself and keeping my drinking habits in check, which escalated a lot during the divorce. Mom insists that I start seeing women again, but I'm not jumping into the dating game anytime soon. Honestly, it's always suspicious when your best man or your maid of honor are far more excited and eager than you are about your own wedding. It's as if their help with the wedding is trying to compensate for their intense guilt. In this case, keep your friends close, but your friends, partners, even closer. I have no updates about her. After that, I have blocked her from all social media platforms. As far as affair partner is concerned, he ghosted me after the wedding day. The last I saw him was on my wedding day, dancing with Brenda. I'm sure she would have updated him. Regarding our divorce, the thought that they might be seeing each other after our divorce also haunted me for a while. But, eventually, I moved on from that feeling of insecurity. A few days back, I bumped into one of my college friends, a common friend of affair partner and me. He had also attended my wedding as the groomsman. I was not keeping in touch with anyone after the wedding. Even on social media, I ignored everyone. He told me that affair partner was cheated and dumped by his fiancée. Apparently, few of the groomsmen knew that affair partner was with my wife the night before the wedding, and when affair partner hardly left the venue. After I locked myself in the room, they understood what had happened. Eventually, the news of my divorce came out, and they added the math. He said he was not in touch with affair partner for a long time after that, but, coincidentally, he got an offer from the same company, where affair partner worked, and they crossed paths at the office. Once in a while, affair partner was seeing this girl from work, and got engaged to Mondo, but they broke up on the very next day. After the engagement, the wedding was supposed to be this month, but it was called off, and that's when this friend got to know. He was also invited to the wedding, but after they broke up, he got another email that the wedding was called off during an office party. The fair burner got drunk and spilled out the beans to his friend that his fiancée had cheated on him, and that's why he had called off the wedding. The friend tried consoling me, saying that a fair partner was hit back by karma because of what he had done to me. I said I had moved on from the feeling of revenge and betrayal. When I was being cheated upon, I desperately wanted to ruin a fair partner's life. But now, I just don't care about him or Brenda. Both are ghosts to me, and don't exist for me. To update the people of Reddit, I'm dating this wonderful girl from my office. She's a brave, single mother, mom of an adorable daughter, and I can't stop gushing over both of their cuteness and mannerisms. It's too early to say whether I want to marry her or not, but she definitely lights up my life with her presence. Last month, I invited her over to my parents for dinner, and my parents just love her daughter. It was a happy sight and want to seal this deal, but we both are skeptical and don't want to rush into things. Probably. We'll take a couple of years more before we decide to marry, if at all. Fingers crossed, but we might start living together soon. I will make an update if anything progresses. It's no surprise that cheaters tend to be magnets for drama. It sort of follows them wherever they go.